Marshall D. Teach, also known as Blackbeard, the first man to break the deadlock between the original Yonko we were introduced to all the way back in the post-Enies Lobby arc by killing Whitebeard in the Summit War, acquiring his Delph fruit, and taking most of his territory. He attained the status of an emperor for himself. Even now, during the final saga, Blackbeard has shown he isn't done climbing towards his goals and still seeks power in the form of abilities, information, and resources. So why is it that people in our community still don't believe in the hype of probably the most terrifying Yonko? I definitely think it's because most of them don't believe that he's truly a powerful character, which in my opinion is completely unfounded. So let me break down why I think Marshall D. Teach is currently more formidable than you may know, starting with the aspect of his strength that a lot of people may think he's actually the weakest in, which is Haki. A lot of people don't know this, but Blackbeard kind of was one of the originators when it comes to the Haki concept. Many people just jump to Shanks using Haki on Whitebeard's ship, but it's actually Blackbeard looking at Luffy during Jaya, and then we come back to it to an Impel Down where Blackbeard says your Haki has become stronger. Now Blackbeard and Luffy do have multiple run-ins in the story, but for Blackbeard to say that when we just thought he was a Delph fruit guy, let's be honest here, he had the Yami Yami no Mi, and then one of the most hacked Delph fruits against Delph fruit users, but we didn't really care about Haki pre-time skip, so we're just thinking, yes, Blackbeard having Haki is interesting, but the way Oda actually expanded on Haki post-time skip, it makes you really think, how strong was Blackbeard's Haki pre-time skip? Then we jump to Blackbeard versus Shanks. Now we all know Shanks' famous line, Blackbeard scarred me while I was on guard, that shook the fan base pre-time skip. But if you think about it, after post-time skip, it should shake the fan base even more because Shanks was not even on Wano and made Rainbow freeze with his Conqueror's Haki. Then Shanks saw 10 seconds into the future, surpassing anything like Katakuri, Luffy, or Kaido has done when it comes to future sight. 10 seconds into the future to stop Kid's damn punk, and then one-shotting Kid and Killer after their amazing performance with Wano against Hawkins, against Big Mom, on the rooftop against Kaido. They had an amazing performance during the Onigashima raid, and Shanks comes out of nowhere and one-shots him with Divine Departure, a move that is similar, it's pretty much the exact same move of Roger's Divine Departure. And of course we all know that Kaido said Roger's Haki transcends all, so Shanks has been showing even further after the time skip how much of a Haki monster he is. He is literally the Haki man. When Joy Boy's Haki pretty much gave Imu PTSD, sent the Gorosei back to their home, and pretty much sent all the Gorosei back to their human form as well, knocked out all the Vice Admirals. These are guys who know Armament Haki and Observation Haki. That's how strong Joy Boy's Haki was, and Dorian Braki compared it to Shanks. So Shanks is currently the strongest Haki user in the story, and Blackbeard scarred him on guard. And when Shanks said this, he said he was on guard, and people have to understand Shanks pre-time skip was already strong because he was having Conqueror's Haki clash with the world's strongest man, Whitebeard, Blackbeard's captain. So it makes you really think Oda maybe was always setting up Blackbeard as a pretty strong Haki guy in Haki. Yes, we look at his Delph fruits, he's the only man in the history to have 2 Delph fruits, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, his Haki needs to be explored more, and I think that's why there might have been a reason why Oda didn't actually show Law versus Blackbeard like he did Useless Kid versus Shanks. It's like he's hiding Blackbeard's true capabilities. And then I think Blackbeard versus Ace is one of the most underrated battles to talk about, because Blackbeard, yes, he has the Yami Yami no Mi that turns Ace into a regular human, especially Ace being a Logia. Turning Ace to a regular human is pretty interesting, but you have to understand, Luffy said that Ace was stronger than him before he ate the Marineford no Mi. Ace went out to sea without no Delph fruit, unlike Luffy. He went out with no Delph fruit, got the Marineford no Mi, got even stronger, and then he took out a warlord in, of course, Page 1 and Oti's father, and just pretty much fought Jinbe for 5 days. We all know that Ace had Conqueror's Haki, but he also had Armor Haki, Observation Haki that rarely gets talked about. Ace was one of these stronger characters. Like, he was fighting Yamato pretty evenly, and Blackbeard defeated him. And people think, oh, Blackbeard just used the Yami Yami no Mi. No, because Ace even said, wait, shouldn't my attacks not hurt you when it comes to hitting Blackbeard? And Blackbeard said, I take double the pain. So every single time we've seen Blackbeard get hit, he takes double the pain, and he still beat Ace. And there's a moment where Blackbeard actually almost breaks Ace's neck with one blow in the fight. So in my opinion, Blackbeard's physical strength has always been incredibly powerful. Like, even during the flashback, right before Marineford, or beginning of Marineford, Ace talks about he pretty much wanted Blackbeard to become 2nd Division commander because how long he's been on the crew. So Blackbeard is respected when it comes to his power. Marco did say his body was a little different. Blackbeard's fights have always been against legitimately strong Haki users. Yes, people might say Ace is a little vague, but Ace, it has 3 types of Haki, and he did have Armament and Observation. If Ace didn't have Haki, how did he defeat Blackbeard if Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi did make him intangible. Ace did still wanted to fight him. He still wanted to take him out. Now during Marineford, Blackbeard came there with the Yami Yami no Mi and pretty much fought Whitebeard. Whitebeard is one of these strong. He's a Yonko. So Blackbeard, yes, Whitebeard was injured from fighting Akainu. Akainu put a magma fist in his gut and took up half his face. But Blackbeard came in there and fighting him. This is a guy who's pretty inept, pretty strong in Haki. And Blackbeard came there with Yami Yami no Mi and did use Yami Yami no Mi to do his advantages. But of course, Whitebeard took his weapon, a Supreme Great Sword, and slashed Blackbeard. He got back up. So Blackbeard's durability has always been crazy. Like, he took a quake to his face. I thought that was cool. And then after he got Higuraga no Mi, he's fighting Sengoku. Sengoku, the mythical Zoan. He's fighting the Fleet Admiral. I personally just don't think a guy who's reliant on just his Delphi can fight these guys. Yes, they're out of their prime, but they're still top tiers. I think Blackbeard had to have some base Haki. I think pre-time skip alludes to every single moment when it comes to his interaction with Luffy, Shanks talking about him, his fight with Ace, and of course Marineford when it comes to his runs with Whitebeard and Sengoku. Every moment I think Oda is pointing at Blackbeard having a decent amount of Haki. During the time skip, this just gets proven even more because of his fight against Marco. Now, of course, Marco did say that Blackbeard was just too unstoppable with his Higuraga no Mi. Like, that was the reason why they lost the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. And Marco was leading them, Blackbeard was leading his side. So Marco's pretty much saying that Higuraga no Mi was too much for him to handle. Now, this is the same Marco that was fighting Big Mom. Yes, Marco was fighting Big Mom and clashing with Big Mom right before the raid. And then, of course, Marco was handling King and Queen. We know King is very strong in Haki. We know Queen is very strong in Haki. Queen was literally bragging about pretty much even the strongest armor Haki users couldn't get away from his techniques. So we know these two top commanders are pretty good when it comes to armor Haki and observation Haki. And Marco was fighting them at the same time with his mythical zone. When people think Marco was just relying on mythical zone, no. During Marineford, Marco actually used Haki against Akainu. So we know Marco was pretty good with Haki. And then of course Marco even blocked the attack from Kaido when it comes to using his mythical zone. But still, all I'm saying is that Marco is pretty strong in his Haki. People also that moment where Rayleigh used one finger to stop him during the anime. But I just want to tell you guys this. Marco got defeated by Blackbeard. Yes, we didn't see the fight, but he got defeated by Blackbeard. I don't think Blackbeard was just using Higuraga no Mi and the Yami Yami no Mi. I think Blackbeard was using a pretty decent amount of Haki. And there's a reason why Blackbeard's fights are not being shown. We didn't see this fight. Even Ace was kind of off screen if you think about it, guys. So Blackbeard is looking like that character that Oda wants to save for the final arc, because he's a final villain. That's why I was so happy after Wano when Blackbeard finally showed his arm in Haki. It's really cool to see because it took a while for Sanji to show his arm in Haki. Even took Zoro a while. It took him to Dressrosa against, of course, Ika to actually show his coating of his arm in Haki, that black blade. But I want to tell you guys this. Blackbeard coating his arm in Haki and blocking the Mihawk Seraphim was so cool because that Seraphim was able to cut off a piece of Amazon Lily. That's how strong the slash was. And we've seen how strong that Seraphim was in Egghead Island, guys. So to see Blackbeard with just his arm encoding our Haki, he was able to block the attack. To me, that was the confirmation I needed to show that Blackbeard is one of the strongest armor Haki users in the story. Seraphims are one of the strongest characters, and they've been confirmed to have armor Haki and observation Haki. So to see that, to me, was really made Blackbeard character worthwhile when it comes to hyping him up. And that's why I made this video, because the only thing people can hate on Blackbeard is his Haki. They can't hate him on his durability. They can't hate on his physical strength. They can't hate on his 2 dove fruits, because it's the strongest Logan, the strongest Paramecia. The only thing they can hate on is his Haki, and what better thing to do than vindicate his Haki throughout evidence in the story. Now, of course, Blackbeard later on would fight Boa Hancock, and I think Oda kind of was alluding to Blackbeard being a legit Haki user by pretty much, yes, he uses the Yami Yami no Mi to stop Boa Hancock and has her in a chokehold, but you have to understand this. Boa Hancock knows all 3 types of Haki. Yes, she knows all 3. She's a Conqueror's Haki user, Armor Haki user, and Observation Haki. And actually, Amazon Lily is a Haki specialist island. So for Blackbeard to have her stuck like that was pretty cool in my opinion. Like, it really made, yeah, she's used a hack. Boa Hancock is a hacks user, but she still has insane Haki. So to see Oda portray Blackbeard above her in this moment was cool. Even though, yeah, she could have used her hacks to make Blackbeard into stone, it didn't happen. And I think one of the most proven points of Blackbeard being a strong Haki user is Rayleigh. Rayleigh comes in there pretty much flexing Conqueror's Haki coating leaking off of his sword and pretty much telling Blackbeard, get the hell out of here. And Blackbeard obliges because the legend of Rayleigh is. But later on, Rayleigh does say this. He says Blackbeard would have beat him in a fight because right now Rayleigh's out of his prime. And we know Rayleigh, he has amazing observation Haki, he has amazing armor Haki, he has amazing Conqueror's Haki. He trained Luffy in all 3 bases of Haki. Rayleigh is one of the strongest Haki users. I don't care if he's out of his prime. In the story, when I seen Haki users, Rayleigh has been one of the strongest users. He doesn't have a Delph fruit, and he still said Blackbeard would beat him. Yes, the Yami Yami no Mi and the Higuraga no Mi, not necessarily the Yami Yami no Mi, but more so the Higuraga no Mi would help. But for Rayleigh to say he would lose, Rayleigh is a really good gauge in power when from his Haki Haki ability. So we definitely can sense Blackbeard's Haki the same way Blackbeard sensed Luffy's Haki and how it grows stronger after Impel Down. And we know that Luffy did use Conqueror's Haki during Amazon Lily in arc, but right before Impel Down. So Blackbeard was right in his analyzation. And then I want to talk about Blackbeard versus Law. I think Blackbeard versus Law is just Oda talking to the more intellectual fans of the series and ignoring the more fans who can't really, how do I say this, see the patterns of things, because he fights Law, and Law is coming off of a really good showing in Wano. First of all, Law defeated Hawkins with relative ease. Law did pretty well on the rooftop, if I'm being completely honest, like against Kaido and Big Mom. He did really well. And then Law fought Big Mom alongside Kid, took all of her attacks. Big Mom's a Conqueror's Haki Koda user. He has strong armor Haki and she has strong observation Haki. Law took all of her attacks. Law was the one who said that his room doesn't work against extremely strong Haki users. And for Law to come into that Blackbeard fight saying that his Haki got stronger after fighting a Yonko, and to stop the hacks that is Doc Q's Delver ability that turned him to a woman. I want to say this: Law fighting Blackbeard, a strong Haki user, not a Conqueror's Haki coding user, but a strong Haki user and a strong Delphi user, losing to Blackbeard. It was just the final nail in the coffin to prove that Blackbeard is not just a Delphi merchant. He does have incredible Haki, and I think this Law fight, the fact that Oda off-screened it, was more proof than we ever needed. So I thought that was very cool by Oda. Like, I remember when Doflamingo used armor Haki to stop Law's hack during Dressrosa, and to see Law Haki go stronger after Wano, and still Blackbeard wins with less of a crew. Like, Law had his entire crew, but Blackbeard only had half his crew. The other half was fighting Garp, so that was cool to see. And then there's Aokiji. Now, you have to understand this: Blackbeard pirates are incredibly powerful. First of all, his base crew of Burgess, Doc Q, Stronger, I'll add Stronger, even though it's like a pet, I'll add Stronger. And there's also, not Yasa, but is a rival, Van Augur. Everyone knows that fight's gonna happen. And then there's also Luffy. That crew, base crew, is pretty powerful, especially when they all got Hacks Delfruits. We see Burgess, we see Van Augur during the Law fight. They got incredibly Hacks fight powers. This was just cool. Even Doc Q had a Hacks power. They all gained pretty cool Delfruits. Luffy, I think he always had a Delfruit with his like wings that we've seen, but still, I think Luffy has a mythical Zoan. I think Luffy is actually one of the stronger Blackbeard pirates. Now, I want to talk about Blackbeard going to level 6 and getting the strongest level 6 prisoners that actually won in a battle. Like, just getting base level 6 was gonna be cool, but he got the strongest, the ones that won in the survival of the fittest. And then also Shitty the Rain, a Impel Down jailer that was said to rival Magellan. That was cool to see. So we know Shitty the Rain is an incredibly Haki user because he only used Haki and then got the invisible Delphi later on. And then Aokiji, we just saw it versus Garp. Garp is an incredibly Haki user because that's all he uses, and Aokiji is physical strength, a hack ice Delphi, and incredible Haki. Like, we know Aokiji, he doesn't have Conqueror's Haki coding, but he does have strong armor Haki and observation Haki. When we saw him use it against Whitebeard, who stabbed him, he used observation Haki to avoid it, and then the fans are like, oh, not the fans, but the fodder is like, oh, Aokiji got strapped by Haki, and he's like, no, of course not. And then of course also against his clash with Garp with the armor Haki punch, he has incredible Haki, and he still respects Blackbeard's power. Think about that. I'm not saying Aokiji confirmed that Blackbeard's stronger than him, but he respects Blackbeard's power to serve under him. So I don't think Blackbeard would have someone that's stronger than him serve under him. I don't think he's that type of character. So it was cool to see, honestly, Aokiji joining the crew made Blackbeard look stronger. I'm gonna keep it real. A former admiral joining your crew makes you look stronger because you're the captain of the crew. So I think Blackbeard can't just be strong because of Delfruits. Haki has to be a thing. Just look at the Gorosei with their mythical Zoans. Yes, they're incredibly powerful with their mythical Zoans, but think about this, yo. They still had Conqueror's Haki, guys. Haki is a huge thing in when it comes to combat in the One Piece story. So I'm gonna talk about two future fights that are really important when it comes to Blackbeard being vindicated as a strong Haki user, and that's versus Shanks. Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is not going to be really relevant against Shanks because Shanks doesn't have a Delphi. Secondly, Blackbeard's Gurren no Mi is not going to be as relevant because Shanks has Haki at the end of the day. Haki is the ultimate neutralizer to Delphus. So the only thing that I can see that can overtip Blackbeard is if he gets help from outsiders, or if he has incredibly strong Haki as well that can at least make him toe-to-toe fight with Shanks. Now, do I think Kid and Law had incredible strong Haki after their fight with Big Mom? I think Blackbeard has stronger Haki than them. I think Blackbeard has Conqueror's Haki coding. And if he doesn't have Conqueror's Haki coding, he has no chance versus Shanks. Just look at Loki and Elbaf. He's one of the strongest characters in the series, and Shanks beat him. So Blackbeard being destined to fight Shanks needs insane Haki, in my opinion. And I think Oda hyping with this future fight pretty much confirmed that he's gonna have insane Haki when the fight comes. If Blackbeard doesn't have insane Haki, come back to this video and laugh at me. And then there's Luffy. I think Luffy versus Blackbeard is also another future fight where Blackbeard needs to show that he has insane Haki. First of all, Luffy has the Nika Delphu, which is gonna be neutralized by Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi. So it's gonna be more so Luffy using a lot of Haki based attacks. I think Kaido kind of making that statement about Haki really was foreshadowing of Luffy gonna have to use strong Haki against Blackbeard when he has Yami Yami no Mi. And of course, if Luffy's using incredibly strong Haki against Blackbeard, Blackbeard's gonna have to counteract that with incredibly strong Haki as well, because how to say is Luffy doesn't just rely on his Nika food. In his base form, he was fighting Kaido, the strongest creature alive. But I think this future fight against Luffy, when Nika gets out of it with the Yami Yami no Mi, Haki is gonna be a big player when it comes to them and seeing who wins in that fight. I want to say one more thing too when it comes to ending this video off on Blackbeard being an incredibly strong Haki user. Kaido's statement about Haki transcends all, and that's why Roger was the Pirate King. He didn't have a Del Fruit. Gorosei in Egghead Island, and them having all Conqueror's Haki was cool to see. Joy Boy and the Iron Giant releasing Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki that pretty much had Imu having PTSD and the Gorosei turning back to humans and the Vice Admirals all being knocked out. Oda is slowly by slowly showing us that Haki is a big thing. Even watching Whitebeard fight all these years, Blackbeard had to be witnessing his captain use incredibly strong Haki, like we saw against Kozuki Oden, like we saw against Roger when they weren't even touching with Conqueror's Haki coding clash. So Blackbeard will have Conqueror's Haki coding. I even think a special type of Conqueror's Haki coding, a dark sinister one, similar to maybe Roxy Zebek, or maybe similar to a little bit like Imu. It's gonna be one of those Conqueror's Haki that Jinbei's gonna comment on, because Jinbei looks to be the guy who like comments on incredibly powerful Conqueror's Haki when it comes to the Straw Hat Pirates. Now I do want to say this, Conqueror's Haki has always been said to not be trained, but as you go stronger, it grows stronger as well. And Blackbeard, all he's been doing is growing stronger lately. So I believe his Conqueror's Haki is gonna be insanely powerful. Many people thought Marines didn't have Conqueror's Haki. Think about that. And now we know confirmed Garp and Sengoku. Many people thought that Zoro didn't have Conqueror's Haki, and now Zoro has Conqueror's Haki confirmed. Actually, in the recent one of the recent data books for SBS, it's been confirmed that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. So many fans have been taking so many L's but not looking at patterns. So Blackbeard will have Conqueror's Haki, and I know people make videos on him not having it. No, he's gonna have it, and that's gonna make him even more dangerous because he has 2 Del Fruits and he has Conqueror's Haki. So debate in the comment section if you disagree, but this is my opinion.